Hi, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of the Sofa Guys Movie Reviews. As always, I have Cody here next to me, and we're going to have a nice show tonight. We're going to be talking about Fear Street trilogy that was on Netflix, The Hitman's Wife's Bodyguard, The Tomorrow War, and the long-awaited Black Widow. Now, due to scheduling conflicts, unfortunately, Ted will not be with us as often. So tonight, I'm actually taking over, and we will go from here. All right. And Cody, would you like to get her started with Fear Street?
Yeah, so I'm a big fan of Fear Street. The books in general, I love that R.L. Stein had something that was more aimed, was a little bit darker, a little bit older. And I was really curious to see what we could do after the success of Goosebumps with that kind of kids' horror with that adult setting. And I honestly feel that Netflix hit it on every single cylinder. All three stories were absolutely incredible. They still were connected. I'm a giant fan of 70s, 80s camp slashers, and the nods to that, the tropes were all just dead on. It's one of those rare, perfect 10 out of 10s for me. I remember being geeked every single day before, just getting geeked, ready to watch it. And it took something as kind of kiddish as there's a witch in the town and it's happening this kind of it took that and it made it something that adults care about. The symbolism was there, even in the names of the towns. No matter who you are, if you enjoy horror whatsoever, you gotta watch it. It's a required watch. And I wouldn't bring your kids to it. I definitely wouldn't do that. They will be terrified. But if you want something fresh, a fresh take on a very done genre, then I think it's exactly what you're looking for.
I'd have to agree. I remember up until it coming out, all I kept hearing about was Fear Street. It's coming out, the countdown. And when I got a chance to watch it, I was impressed. Um, Old school 80s slasher, like you said, but in a now. And the characters, you loved them, you hated them. Everything was well put together. The cast did a great job. And I couldn't wait for the next one. I mean, when it was over, come on, next week. I need that next one now. Um, definitely, definitely a great one.
What was your favorite of the three? Mine was definitely Camp, the second one.
I agree. The 1978 was definitely my favorite. Aside from the fact that it was the camp slasher, like we all liked, I also liked the nod that they used the Crystal Lake camp from Friday the 13th, 6, new chapter. So that was a nice little nod there. I mean, it looked familiar and it had that feel to it. I mean, this is exactly what I wanted. We wanted a slasher film, and what better way than an homage to one of the originals?
And I think something kind of neat about it too, especially that camp one, right? Is we keep talking about how it's an old idea done now. And I think that really applies to the story too. These characters in all three movies, the actors all play different characters, right?
Yes.
So what's interesting is the archetypes never change because people don't really change. No matter where you are, what's happening, people are generally going to be the people they are with a different overlay, I guess is the way to put it. So seeing the kids from the first one, shout out to Max from Stranger Things, who makes an incredible cameo in this show. We go all the way back to the 1600s, right? In the third one, you see those tropes still exist. People, no matter what time, no matter who's trying to kill you, the struggles of life are always there, and they're not going to change no matter what time it is. All that changes is what it looks like. And I think that was very prevalent in the symbolism of the movies the entire time.
Oh, definitely. Now, Fear Street, of course, was three different movies. You had the what was it, 1985? No, 1994.
Yep.
Yep. So 1994, then 1978, and then 1666. So you started with the now, everything taking place with this witch, the idea, people going crazy, everything where these three kids essentially band together with their friends and try to take this on. Going back to, well, where did it all begin? Only to find out even more and more. Now, what do you think about the first one?
I really liked it, specifically for the kid that works at the grocery store. It's interesting, right? When you typically in horror movies give your clown or jester archetype, especially right next to like the bad girl. They're usually always together. There's always like, you know what's going to happen. This was interesting to give him the role of just being that wholesome while also being an incredible druggie. Was kind of really fun for me. Like it flipped that on its head where like he's still that Jester archetype, right? Like that's who he is.
Yeah.
But you root for him. And normally I don't root for the druggy stoner that dies right away.
Agreed. And I have to go ahead and give props to the younger brother, played by Benjamin Flores Jr. He seemed like he was going to be the geeky kid who wasn't going to amount to nothing. He was just going to go ahead and be in the background. He's going to be there everywhere they go. And he pulled out so many different things. I mean, you loved him. He went ahead and was right there. He had the ideas. He had, he was the glue basically that put everyone together.
To answer your question, Sandy, we are talking about Fear Street 1, 2, and 3, which were released a week apart on Netflix a couple months ago. And they are still on there. So when we say 1994, 1978, or just I think it's 1606, I want to say for the other one.
1666.
Oh, close enough.
Yes.
Yeah, so there are 3 separate stories connected with an underlying plot. They're fantastic.
Hands down, definitely. And of course, like we were mentioning, since it goes ahead and starts in the now, then it goes back to 1978 because they're trying to figure out what's going on, why this all took place. And then we went ahead and back to, like you said, the 1600s. And that's where it really started with the witch trials, essentially, with Sarah Fierce. Now, I have to say, the idea of the preacher, the whole ordeal that took place in 1666 was just so well done.
Yeah, I don't want to spoil that one for anyone, but do not have a full stomach when you watch that third one because it can be a little dark and a little brutal.
For an R.L. Stine series, I do love the fact that this is definitely mature, great for adults. You went into it thinking that it would be something like you would watch on Disney Channel or just regular TV. No, this here is definitely a Netflix original. Rated R, but it's not over the top. It's not like your typical slasher film where blood is everything. It's actually tasteful, well done. The script is well written. Everyone just bands together. I mean, yeah, I have to give
it's
it
ironic considering blood's the key to it all.
That is true. That is true.
I think. Sorry.
No, you're fine. I was just gonna say. I mean, honestly, I'd have to say for a series like this, I give it a 10 out of 10. It's not something I haven't seen in a long time and was greatly appreciated to see it. And thank you for recommending it.
Yeah, so I think it's a good opportunity too, right? So it gave me a lot of vibes of Cabin in the Woods years ago, which was a huge genre buster, right? Flipping it on its side. And I think this show is trying to do, or movies are trying to do the same thing. Because like one of my favorite things is to always plug in, the color and the shapes of the archetypes of the movie. So you have the little brother is the scholar, is what I would assume. The warrior or athlete, that would be the girl.
Yeah.
Both of them, technically. But you have your final girl, or final girls, in this case.
True.
I'm trying to think. We have the jester. We have... What archetypes am I missing?
Well, we had the popular teen, but also was low distraught at the same time with the... a deep-seated past.
Yeah.
So, yeah. And then we can't forget the comic relief of the guy that was the janitor.
Yeah.
Yes, the janitor.
So, yeah, I recommend it to everyone. If you don't have Netflix, they do offer free trials right now. It's worth the free trial just to watch these movies. You will not regret it.
Very true. Very, very true.
Yeah.
So, what'd you think overall? So, what would you rate it?
10 out of 10, by far. I am so excited to the future of horror. I mean, we constantly are combating this idea of CGI is better, technology is better. So why isn't horror better? Because I think we lean too far into that technology side. This was a perfect example of you don't need to go crazy with it. You can have the nice CGI and the nice technology, but still have a character-driven story, which is what all we've been asking for years.
The CGI wasn't used that much. when it was used, it was done very well. The budget was put specifically into those scenes. Practical effects were used as well. Um, it really did have the crossover between the 80s feel and the now combined together, and it was a beautiful blend. It really was.
Yeah.
All right. Now, what do you think of the Tomorrow War? Of course, anyone who's not familiar with the Tomorrow War, this is the film with Chris Pratt, and he goes to the future to fight an alien war. It was Amazon Prime?
Yeah.
Yes, it was on Amazon Prime, but it had a great cast of people in there, characters, and was definitely a fun one. So, what's your take on that?
I liked it. I thought it was really good. The monsters, aliens were cool. I just wanted more variety out of them, which there was some there, and I think it lays the groundwork for a really cool franchise. I just think I think it was hurt by being released at the same time as like the same decade as like Independence Day 2, seeing Pacific Rim, seeing all of these kind of Alien versus Us, or very it's that whole idea. Chris Pratt's charisma can only take you so far. And while he's fantastic in it, truly, I just wanted a little more out of it. I don't have anything to really knock it for. I mean, it was a pretty textbook movie. I liked it, and I would like to see them delve in more now that they've established their rules and their universe. But it was good. It just wasn't enough for me to be like, I need to watch this again. And I'm the person that'll watch a movie 40 million times.
For me, I'd have to say just the opposite. I would love to watch it a couple more times. I mean, like you said, Chris Pratt, you can only go so far. The character was basically like your average man, your average father, and he was drawn into this. He had a perfect set of skills that helped out, and he was open-minded, and he did great. But it wasn't him that makes me want to see this movie multiple times. It's actually J.K. Simmons, as well as one of the classmates in his class that he teaches. Funny, different, the one you wouldn't expect, and then of course, needs to be the one that everyone needs to go to.
I mean, it's not J.K. Simmons if he's not yelling for pictures of Spider-Man. So,
or going ahead beating his son in Invincible.
but no, he's right. It's a good movie. I guess just wasn't. It was good. Like, I liked it. I'm a little bummed because I'm a nerd. I love aliens. I love the future. I love all that stuff. So for me to not be like, yeah, about it, it's like something's missing.
For me, it was the special effects and the action sequences that really got me wanting to go ahead and see it a couple more times. But I understand what you mean. I mean, we've dealt with so many different movies with the aliens, with the action, time travel. I mean, you had Terminator, you've got Independence Day, like you said. You know, we had Aliens, the whole entire genre of that. But the case of the style of the aliens that they chose here, the design for them, I thought was actually well done. It was a little different than what we've expected. The idea of the having to go to the future in order to be able to take care of them, because everyone in the future is losing, so we have to go to the past to actually recruit. Now, that was thinking outside the box, and it works. It really works for the movie.
Okay, so if we're going to go into that part, if you're going to do that, you're going to establish a cool plot, a cool reason, at least follow through on your rules of time travel.
Okay, very, very true. He makes a great point that there is a few rules that normally, for any of us who've seen any time travel movie, they will make mistakes, and unfortunately, it has no actual effects to it. Unfortunately, it's there, but visually, still awesome. And the script itself, it wasn't that bad, honestly. Yeah, I'd see it a few more times. I don't know if I would actually own it. I would at least watch it.
If you're looking for, it's a great movie, but if you're looking for more of that time-based action makes you think, I think it just got overshadowed by Tenet, if I'm being honest.
That's a good point. A lot of people have been talking about it. Unfortunately, I have yet to see the movie, but I am going to. I will. Yes, I know.
It's the best movie to release in the last 2 years by far.
Okay. See, This is why I have him on here to go ahead and set me right and make sure that I actually catch out some of these movies that I'm missing.
Well, we're not reviewing Tenet today for anyone that's interested. Tenet is a love letter to James Bond in the sense that it's Christopher Nolan's take on the spy genre. And it deals with going to war against the future. So it's, if you have 3 hours of your night and you want to just think, it's a great movie.
So 3 hours.
It's not quite, but you're going to need it to digest it.
Fair enough. Fair enough. So we went with Fear Street 1, 2, and 3, of course.
Mm-hmm.
We went ahead and looked at Amazon Prime's Tomorrow War.
There was that other movie that came out. I think it was like a little one with that red-haired girl. Oh yeah, Black Widow. Yeah,
Yes.
the new Marvel movie.
Now, of course, many people have been wanting a Black Widow movie for years. Ever since the Marvel Cinematic Universe came out, we went ahead and got Iron Man. We got the Avengers. We got the Hulk, Thor. But why not Black Widow? Well, after many years and then finally able to find a script, they went ahead and actually produced it, and it was finally released. Now, I have to say that although it's a Marvel movie, it's not the same as it is all the other ones. This one has its own feel to it. It's a little slower in my book. I liked it. Don't get me wrong, I did. But unlike your typical Marvel movie, where she's got her quick whips, she's funny on her part, action packed. It felt like the role was reversed, and everyone else, the secondary characters, her co-stars, and so forth, were the ones delivering her type of lines, where she was the more serious role. But action-packed wise, phenomenal. The cast in here, I mean, you've got, what was it, Dave Harbour from...
Dave Harbour makes that movie.
Hands down, definitely. Dave Harbour from Stranger Things, of course, is in there. And then, yeah, I mean, the movie was absolutely great, except it felt a little lacking for a Marvel movie. Its own movie, I agree. But for a Marvel movie, it was a little slower.
Yes, Scarlett Johansson is the Black Widow, Sandy. So anyone that knows me knows I am painfully obsessed with superheroes, and I was very excited about this movie. And I liked it. David Harbour, again, I would watch a Red Guardian movie. I would. For anyone that doesn't know, David Harbour plays basically the Soviet old fat Captain America, and it's fantastic. But I think it benefited from the fact that it was set in the Marvel universe, but I think that's the only thing about it that's a Marvel movie. I mean, you have Black Widow in it, you have like that, but he's right. It really is more of that like action espionage thriller that has a very family-based dynamic. So it definitely ties up some plot lines for Black Widow, considering Endgame and all of that. So anyone that was really into that and her idea of finding a family, this is really, really great for that. So I think that it benefited from that, but it didn't quite feel big. It didn't feel super enough. And Michael Bay himself could have been credited for those explosions in that movie, but it wasn't big enough. And that's just kind of how I feel about it. Like, it wasn't bad. There's not a bad Marvel movie, other than maybe Iron Man 3. But
here we go again.
But, realistically, what more could you want? Black Widow's cool. She's sexy. She's sly. Like, that's what they leaned into. And I truly do hope that Scarlett Johansson gets everything that she's due. And I truly hope that works out for her, because she still deserves no more than she got.
Very true. Now, of course, the villain that was actually in the movie, they took their own take on it. It was a little different. It wasn't bad, but honestly, there could have been more to it. It was kind of like if you went ahead and took a brand name of anything, and then you went ahead and slapped on a different one and made your own mix and called it good and said, "Hey, this is the same thing." Unfortunately, it was a little lacking for the storyline of as to who it was, how it was, but action-wise, it was great and well done in that aspect. Plus the suit. You have to admit, the suit was awesome.
Look how they massacred my boy. I love Taskmaster. So, for this movie, right, Black Widow has no superpowers, so we needed to find a villain for her that was going to challenge her, but not be something ridiculous. So they use Taskmaster, whose ability is they have photogenic reflexes. So they can watch anyone fight, and they've been watching the Avengers fight and copy that fighting style. So on paper, it's Black Widow fighting her family. And that's cool. I think the road was paved with great intentions, but it's my biggest gripe with the movie is Taskmaster. He's such a cool villain, and I don't even care that it's a woman or anything like that. The silent Taskmaster is the part of that bothered me, because Taskmaster in the comics has so many quips. He's always just getting in people's heads. He plays the mental game. So
it wasn't just that. Taskmaster was being used as a tool rather than being an individual himself, you know?
He uses the tools.
Exactly. And because of that, he just, yes, okay, and goes and does. Where he would be tactful, he would be, malevolent. He would literally be one of the most vicious, villains anyone could go against. I mean, he was very calculating in what he did. And the fact that it didn't matter where you used, I mean, okay, I'm going to use a pen. I'm going to use a stapler. Here's a bow and arrow. Doesn't matter. You put something in his hands, and he's like the Peacemaker. He's like a, Bloodshot. He's deadly.
And I will say, because this is a reviewing place and a theory place, you heard it here first. I was so happy when the post-credit scene of that movie proved what I've been saying to Jerry for the last year and a half, that the Dark Avengers are coming, and get ready. May I take a quick second and hop on my soapbox? Is that okay?
That is fine. Go ahead.
We're here. If you kept up with the Marvel stuff, one of the most impactful for me stories in the Marvel Comics was called Dark Avengers. What that was Norman Osborn, a.k.a. the Green Goblin, a.k.a. really weird red corn rolls and most evil guy in Marvel, took over the Avengers. He wore the Iron Patriot, Iron Man suit, and then he had a version of each Avenger that was disguised kind of like a dark evil version to kind of just create the perception of public safety. And we're getting set up for that perfectly with the characters that we're seeing with like John Walker in Falcon Winter Soldier, Yelena in Black Widow. It's shaping up to be the actual Civil War that we're looking for, where it's Thunderbolts, Norman Osborn, Dark Avengers, if you're a comic nerd. We're finally getting those niche, cool stories. And Jerry and I have a running game where I guess everything ever, and I'm never really wrong.
He's not.
So it's going to happen, and you're all going to love it. And you heard it here first.
Yeah, no soapbox needed right there, of course. But no, he is correct. I mean, everything we've been watching, he literally just says right from the beginning, that's it. And just, really? But at least he doesn't go ahead and give a spoiler away as to how it's done, so I can still enjoy the shows. So there's that at least. But nonetheless, yeah. So Dark Avengers, definitely coming out soon. The question, of course, is when, how, and who else will be involved?
2024 or 2025.
Okay. Okay.
So my question is, what they're doing with the MCU now. They're taking movies, and one movie's directly leading into a show. So my question is this: in the new Hawkeye show, are we going to see Yelena?
That is a good question. And it also questions down what time period are we looking at? Are we going to be looking at the time period during the Avengers when, after the snap, he went dark? Are we going to be looking after that when everyone came back? So it really does, boggle the question of what portion of what we're going to see, or is it going to be all of it in a combination?
Well, with Yelena going after Clint, kind of spoilers ahead. With Yelena going after Clint now, it would make sense it's after Endgame because she's going after him based on what happens in Endgame. My question is Yelena going to be the Dark Ronin or the Dark Black Widow?
That is a good question. I'd probably say the Dark Black Widow.
I would agree because I think Bullseye is going to be the Hawkeye.
That would be amazing to see.
That's exactly what happens in the comics, though.
Well, let's hope.
But yeah, it's cool. It's leading in, so I'm excited to see Hawkeye, which is coming out pretty soon on Disney Plus. So
yeah, we've got 4 shows that are on Disney Plus right now.
Yep, we have WandaVision, Falcon Winter Soldier, Loki, What If, and technically you have like the behind the scenes stuff and all that kind of stuff.
Okay, so 4 shows it is with a little bit of filler.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Well, right now we're going to go ahead and take a quick little break, and going to go ahead and be back with in just a moment.
Oh, yeah. Life just got sweeter now that WLFE DB has merchandise. Show your support by purchasing your t-shirts for WLFE, Paratalk Radio, Inside the Drag Closet, and more. But it doesn't stop there. T-shirts, coffee mugs, tanks, buttons, cloth bags, and more. Go to WLFE-DB.com. On the top bar, click on the merchandise tab and bam, there you go. You got merch. Support the shows. WLFE-DB.com.
Try again, buddy. Try again. Yay! Okay. Oh yeah! Good job. Oh.
Hey guys and dolls, this is Casey DeVille, the better half of DeVille Inc., Baltimore, Maryland. If you're ever in Baltimore, stop in and see me and Tony. Invisible Brie, 5920 Eastern Avenue, Baltimore, Maryland, 21224. Give us a call if you're in the area, 410-400-9641, or look us up on the web at DeVilleInc.com. DeVille Inc., where we specialize in you.
You're listening to WLFE DB Radio. Now, back to our program.
And welcome back. All right. Hope everyone is joining us still and having a good time. Now, we have another movie that we went ahead and saw, and it's actually a sequel to one that came out, what was it, 3 years ago?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. It is The Hitman's Wife's Bodyguard. Now, anyone who's not familiar with the original, this is Ryan Reynolds, Samuel L. Jackson, Salma Hayek. It also had Morgan Freeman in it as well.
That's all you need. Review done. I'm just kidding.
Not quite, but at the same time, he's not too wrong. Although the original movie itself was great, I mean, it had great action, it had funny quips. I mean, it's Ryan Reynolds. How can you go wrong with Ryan Reynolds? But the sequel here, it felt like they were trying to use a lot of the same jokes, and they didn't feel like they delivered as well as it could have. It just felt like it was a little too rehashed. However, its own storyline did hold up, and it was still good for that point. And Ryan Reynolds literally just knocking around and, oh, I'm a bodyguard who is not going to use a weapon because I'm on sabbatical. What more can you say? I mean, how else can anyone else pull that off but him?
Yeah, so for anyone that hasn't seen the series, the whole basic plot of this is that Samuel Jackson is the world's most ruthless assassin, and Ryan Reynolds is the that kid in your class that wants every single sticker for his sticker collection and the teacher to give it to him, his bodyguard, and he loses his status as AAA certified bodyguard and has to kind of climb his way back up. Well, how do you protect Samuel Jackson? You tell him to wear his seatbelt. That's how. So the kind of humor that you see is absolutely hysterical. What I think the sequel suffered from is a huge case of we had no idea what goal that we had with the first one, and now we're desperately trying to replicate that success.
Mhm.
Ryan Reynolds with like not using guns was absolutely hysterical. The movie was still a great watch, and you will be entertained. But Jerry's absolutely right. Like I think they didn't know what they had with the first one. It was a happy accident, and then they had to recreate, and they got beat by time. It was good though. Salma Hayek. I wanted more from Salma though. I really did.
I don't know. What we got with Selma was quite good. I mean, F this.
No, I didn't
F
want
that,
more
just-
of her. I wanted more of her.
Oh no, I know what you're talking about. Believe me, I know. Unlike typical roles in which they go ahead and utilize the heroine to go ahead and be flaunting, sexy, and so forth. Although she is, don't get me wrong, it was her demeanor, her language, her attitude that just made it. I mean, you go ahead and see her talking to someone, and literally her cellmate is hiding in the corner, just like afraid to even make eye contact. And here's little Selma Hayek and a bigger woman right there in there. It's just no. So I don't know what you're talking about. We had enough Selma Hayek in there. I mean, it was a great blend. It was
She's
not
one
too
of my
much.
favorite actresses. So
I agree. I mean, she is phenomenal no matter what she does. I mean, if it's comedic, if it's action, sultry, it doesn't matter. I mean, from Dusk Till Dawn
Yep.
to Desperado. I mean, come on. You know, but it wasn't just that. It was, like he said, they tried so hard to replicate the original. And unfortunately, it fell a little flat. Now, you had Morgan Freeman come into the mix as well. And what better movie to go ahead and actually get Samuel L. Jackson and Morgan Freeman together and have Ryan Reynolds kind of referee in between? And yeah, I mean, how can you go wrong? But the script itself, it just it fell just a little flat. Not much, but a little.
I think there's a symptom. That's a symptom though of something else that we're gonna even see later on when we talk about another one of our movies. I'm gonna go out on a limb and say it. I think we're kind of getting into some Reynolds burnout.
I think so, but
I love him. Don't get me wrong. I don't want to get any hate mail, but he's a fantastic actor, and Deadpool is my guy. But like, Ryan Reynolds has become a brand in and of itself. So like, when you see him in a movie, I don't even see the character anymore. I just see Ryan Reynolds. Like, Free Guy was a little different because they kind of leaned into that a little bit, but I love him. Why didn't I love the movie 10 out of 10? And I think I'm just a little tired of it. Like, I'll still watch it. Like, I'll watch anything he's in. But we've been seeing this character since Blade Trinity. Like,
yep. Essentially, he's taken on so many roles where he's the action star or he's the secondary co-star who is, action hero as well. I mean, it's the same thing. Weapons, action, comedy mixed in together. But it's that formula. It's over and over again. We'll put you in leather, fight a vampire. We're going to go ahead and give you a suit. Here's a gun, protect the hitman, and so forth.
I like Reynolds in rom-coms.
Exactly. That is some of my favorite that he's actually done. Anything like that. I mean, his comedy is gold, hands down. But you need a storyline to really have it brought out, which later on we are actually talking about a movie where I think that he actually finally broke that mold. But we will get to that one
What
when
was
we
that
do.
movie he was in? God, it's a famous one too, where he lost a bunch of weight from when he was a kid and then ends up meeting the girl again later on in life. It's like the traditional rom-com story.
Oh, the one with Anna Faris.
Yeah.
Honestly, I can't remember that one right
Is it
now.
like best? It's like
Best
like
Friends or
Just
something?
Friends or something like that. But it's a different Just Friends than the JT one.
Yeah, not that one. So
If you like Reynolds,
that one was a good one.
Anna
I just-
Faris kind of carries that one too.
oh, hands down. Yes.
I love Anna Faris.
She just shows up. She's the pop star, and now she's in a small town just trying to fit in, and it doesn't work from the toothpaste, the mouthwash, the pies, everything.
So I guess another honorable mention, Just Friends is fantastic if you really want to get those heartstrings plucked. It's definitely a holiday movie. It's all about going back to your hometown and falling right back to where you were in school.
But on the note of going home and so forth, for Ryan Reynolds, I have to give it the Proposal. The Proposal was Sandra Bullock. I mean, here's a guy who's trying to go ahead and make ends meet. He's trying to get exactly what he wants, and he is suffering from his boss until a proposal of, oh, we're getting married, so we're going back to see the folks. Now here's a ruse that he has to keep, or he loses his job with Sandra Bullock, and they have to see the entire family. What better way to go ahead and have a little bit of fun?
Oh yeah. What's the other big Reynolds one that around that time? God, it was I'm losing it already. It was Ryan Reynolds. It was kind of rom-commy. Oh God, I lost it.
Who was in it?
It's gone. It's completely out of my brain.
Well, if anyone is actually out there and actually is familiar with Ryan Reynolds movies, by all means, hop in here. Go ahead.
Got it. Where he changes bodies with Jason Bateman.
Okay. I can't remember the name of it, but I know which one you're talking about because he's the freelancing guy. He's just basically out.
With katanas and bongs and everything.
Yep. But, of course, when they swap bodies, now he's there with the wife. And it's like, no, can't touch, can't do anything. And
it's the meltdown he has in the grocery store that gets me to lose it. Where Jason Bateman's like, you always ask your wife what to bring on the way home. Always.
He's not wrong. He's not wrong.
Dude, guys, please ask your missus what she needs on the way home. You're going to have to leave again. I live it every day. Please take it from me.
I got nothing on that one. I really don't. He's right. He's right. But yeah, no arguments here. If she asks, do.
Marriage Tips 101. Alrighty.
And that'll be another show for the next time. All right. So what did you think about that movie? Now, me, I give it a 6.
8.
You give it 8?
Entertain me.
It was entertaining. Yes, I agree.
What more did I want? I didn't go to see that. I didn't go to see that movie because I was like, this is going to be critical at Sundance. I saw the movie because it'd be a good ride.
Okay.
And for that, I didn't have the highest expectation. I knew it was going to suffer from sequelitis, but doesn't. I'll tell you what doesn't. X2 and Spider-Man 2, those are the only reasons.
There it is.
Thank
you, Jennifer.
Thank you, Jennifer.
There
For
it
real,
is.
though,
The
if you ever want 2 movies that don't suffer from sequelitis, it's X2 and Spider-Man 2. But we knew it was going to happen. So if my expectation just being entertain me for an hour and a half, it fired in all cylinders. But I'm not going to give it 10 out of 10 because, well, I'll give it a solid 80%.
He has actually changed my mind. I'm going to go ahead and bump it up another 10%. We're doing a 7 out of 10. It just fell a little short for me, but it was quite entertaining. And besides, seatbelt.
I think the state of mind that I had during that movie also may have played a factor, but
well, we were dealing with some work issues and we wanted to go ahead and relax, but that was kind of on our mind. So yeah. So stress, unfortunately, went ahead and inhibited the fact of us not enjoying the movie as much as we should. So you know what? We will revisit that movie again.
Yeah.
All right. Especially since now I own it. Now, another movie that we went ahead and saw, and he was talking about quite a bit, and I couldn't help it, couldn't wait for it, and so we sat down and actually watched it, was a sequel to The Suicide Squad. Suicide Squad 2, which was on HBO Max.
How dare you insult that by calling it a sequel?
He's got a point. I'm okay. I retract that. It is not a sequel. It's its own movie.
Take
Suicide
that, David Ayer.
Dude. Yes. No, the movie itself was amazing. I love how he went ahead and pulled this off. I mean, if anyone could go ahead and take a comic book movie and put it onto the live action screen and still make it feel like an actual comic book as well, he did it. There's no, Gunn did an awesome job.
Yeah, and that's who James Gunn is. He's the champion of the misfits. Look at Guardians of the Galaxy. He was perfect for that because no one cared about the Guardians of the Galaxy. Being a comic fan forever, I'll be real with you. No one cared at all about the Guardians. They were just always there doing stuff, and they were fun. There was a flying raccoon in a tree. It was cool. But James Gunn is perfect at making you care about the people that no one cares about. So I think when he was asked to redo Suicide Squad, he took it as that. I think we all expected a Guardians movie that we did not get. What we got instead was a true champion of the underdog. No one cared about these people. We're sending them in to die. But you care. And just, I have fallen in love with Nanaue. Like, King Shark is just... I love him.
Yes. Oh, for anyone who doesn't know, the King Shark's character is played by none other than Sylvester Stallone. And in this movie alone, his character, he steals the show. At any time he's on screen, you can't go ahead and you can't hate him. You absolutely love him. And these are supposed to be the villains we're supposed to hate, and yet we love every single one of them.
I think that's the theme of it. What constitutes a villain?
The actions that they make and the poor morals.
Or is it the perspective?
Perspective, yeah.
Look at Ratcatcher. Ratcatcher's not a villain.
No, she is not. Yet she is being treated as one.
She robbed a couple banks. Who doesn't? Who hasn't thought about it, right?
Okay.
Is that just me? No.
Yep. Show of hands.
Hand. But so in this movie we have an incredible cast list. And that was actually my only gripe with it was you had some of the coolest supervillains ever and some of the most incredible cast. Pete Davidson, Flula Borg. But don't get attached. James Gunn warned us all. Don't get attached. He's not afraid to kill anyone. And that is certainly true in this movie. But you got to see it. Margot Robbie has channeled her Harley Quinn and actually got character development, which I was surprised at, but that's kind of the way things are going. Shout outs to Idris Elba, who kills everything that he's in while not always having the best choice in movies. This one was a good choice for him.
Agreed.
And even John Cena, who's getting a spin-off show from the movie Peacemaker.
Yes, you did mention that. So they are actually having a spin-off of Peacemakers. If you haven't seen the movie yet, Cena's character, how to put it? I mean, he was comical, but delivering the comedy with a straight face while shooting someone from 100 yards away, blindfolded, essentially. I mean, He was the guy.
So he's like the Captain America. He's like the funniest version of Captain America ever. The idea of Peacemaker is that he is all about peace. He does not care, as he says, how many women or children he has to kill to get there. It's a very very similar to U.S. Agent from the Falcon Winter Soldier series, but everything about it, they don't take the characters that seriously. They even have a douchey dance scene, which is one of my favorite scenes in the movie, except for King Shark crying. No matter who you are, you're going to relate to one of these characters. And in that same moment, you're going to realize there's parts of you that don't get a chance to be fully displayed or to be fully appreciated. And it really kind of makes you look around at your circle, right? So I had the absolute honor of being able to watch a movie like Suicide Squad with Jerry, my girlfriend, my best friend's Jordan, and my dog. And the fact that the five of us got to sit in that room, and after I got done watching, and I got to look at the room and see my Suicide Squad, my compatriots, my family, which is what Jerry and the rest of them are, and my family. I think it was the perfect setting. I know that's kind of a personal thing, but I started thinking if I got put on an island, had a collar on, and I had to get some backup, I would want these guys to back me up. And it's something really special when a movie makes you think about your friends, even when the people in the movie are giant sharks. It's something special when you get to reflect on that and be like, you know what? I enjoyed that entire experience. Everything about it was just incredible. It was a great night. It was a great movie, great people. I won't be able to recreate that, but I will watch that movie a million times over.
Agreed. The movie itself, there's no way really to describe it other than just saying that it was phenomenally well written, put together. I mean, the cast of everyone, like you said, you have a shark, you have a woman who controls rats, you have an allergic reaction of polka dots, you've got a guy with a toilet seat on his head, essentially. Sorry, couldn't help it. But no,
I'm a superhero.
Yes, and everyone just put together. I mean, these are the guys that everyone they count out. Nope, whatever. We're gonna put you away. It doesn't matter. You're expendable. Yet band together, they literally form a family that essentially can take on even the largest tasks, no pun intended. I mean, they was a star of the movie, really. I mean, just yes, I went there. But for any of you who have not seen the movie yet, you need to.
Available on HBO Max.
What he said, there we go. Available for HBO Max.
Watch it, but we won't tell you where.
I don't know what he's talking about. We'll definitely tell you where and how. Not a problem. You have questions? We have answers. By all means.
Everyone's always asking who's the imposter. No one ever asks how's the imposter.
Just at one time. Seriously, just at one time. So for Suicide Squad, definitely go in with a complete open mind. If you've seen the trailers, if you've seen the posters, you're wrong. No, there's not as many people as you think where they are and who they are. So just keep an open mind.
And then after you see it, I want you to take your copy, if you have it, of the David Ayers Suicide Squad that came before it. I want you to throw it out the window, shoot it with a BB gun, and forget it exists.
Definitely. So I'm going to have to give this one 8 out of 10.
9 out of 10. The only reason it's not 10 out of 10, I want it to be longer.
He definitely has a point there. I mean, it was short, but for how it was done, I think it was long enough.
Oh, for sure. I just wanted more. It was so good.
Now, wanted a little bit more of Amanda Waller, right?
No, I really didn't.
No.
That was Viola Davis, right?
Yes.
Oh, she's so good at playing a character to hate. Like, she does such a good job.
She's a phenomenal actress. I mean, there's no way around that. I mean, the whole cast had great actors and actresses.
Every single actor. The only was what else have we seen Ratcatcher? Is she new?
I believe she's fairly new. I know that she's done a few things, but unfortunately, I'm actually not familiar with her just yet. However, I'm going to rectify that because after seeing her performance in this movie, I need to see what else she's got because honestly, she was one of my favorite characters. The three, I'd have to say the three has to be King Shark, Ratcatcher 2, and the Polka Dot Man. Sorry, but
Polka Dot
he was
Man's
awesome.
great. I loved him.
He was awesome. And his mom.
I really like Flula Borg's character, Javelin.
Ah, yes. Yes.
Everyone loves accents.
Oh, of course they do.
And then you have Margot Robbie and her Brooklyn accent being like, we don't got any.
Of course not. No, we don't. But yeah. But if you haven't seen it, definitely go ahead and check it out. For our last movie that we're going to be going ahead and talking about, though, tonight, this brought up from earlier when we were talking about Ryan Reynolds. We went in and saw Free Guy. Now, this is a video game within a movie of a video game. I mean, it's the first type of movie that would be in the genre, essentially, of a video game-related movie that does not suck.
That is new. Are you saying you didn't like the Tetris movie, Jerry?
I don't even know the Tetris movie now that I'm thinking about it.
Look it up.
Okay, he's got me on this one.
And
Yeah.
there's a DDR movie, just so you know.
No, I knew about the DDR, unfortunately, but I did not dare watch that one for fear of, yeah.
You've all played Grand Theft Auto for the most part, right? Or any kind of game. Imagine that civilian that you're just absolutely terrorizing has feelings and friends. That's Free Guy.
He's not wrong. Now, Ryan Reynolds plays an NPC, and throughout every day that he lives, he wakes up, says hi to his goldfish, goes to work, gets robbed, goes home. But he also enjoys some ice cream and a nice swing. The whole point of the movie essentially is that he starts wondering, what if I was doing more? What if something was different? And then he's introduced to a player that shows up and instantly, right off the bat, it sparks a chemistry that changes everything about him. I mean, here's a guy who doesn't even know he's in a video game, but feels like he's real. Yet the real world is telling him something different. Now, the cast is phenomenal.
Oh,
I mean,
gosh, yeah.
and it's not just the main cast. You have your hero, you have your co-stars, you have cameos, you have everything in there. Yes.
Channing Tatum as the cameo of the year in that movie.
Oh, definitely. Anyone who's actually curious about the movie needs to see it for Channing Tatum alone. I mean, he's in the beginning, he's in the middle, he's a little bit everywhere, and it is hands down the best, most comedic line is delivered by him and yet at the same time, it's the worst line.
So, speaking of cameos, there's another cameo in this movie that's very hard to spot. But if you do message us and guess it correctly, I will absolutely give you a shout out on the next podcast. You know what I'm talking about, right?
Oh, yes, I do. That I do.
Bub.
Now, what did you think overall for the movie itself? I mean, I love the idea that this movie went ahead and had everything. Okay.
Mhm.
I mean, you had action, of course, but you also had comedy, and neither went ahead and overpowered each other. You had romance, you had drama, you had sorrow. I mean, you laughed, you cried, you literally did everything in there.
Mhm.
And unlike typical movies, they only focus on one type, maybe two types, and if they try adding all this together, one or the other goes ahead and overpowers the other. It becomes almost like a little cameo. Here's a little joke, or oh, here's a little bit of action, but it only lasted 3 minutes, and the rest of it is something else. No, this was the perfect blend of every genre in one movie.
I mean, to be honest, I did not have high expectations for it. I was like, okay, everyone else wants to see it. It's video games. It'll be cool. I'm constantly playing video games, and at the time, I think you were also getting into Fortnite around that time.
Actually, I did not just yet. We were actually talking about it, but I decided, no, I'm not going to play it. It wasn't until after Free Guy that I saw you playing it, and it's like, okay, that kind of looks cool. Fine.
Yeah. So I went into it thinking, okay, it's gonna flop. It's trying to do too much. I was wrong. Happily will admit it. It was great. There's a line in the movie about what's real, and there's a character that says, "I'm sitting here with my best friend, helping him through a hard time. What's more real than that?" Tugs at your heartstrings a little bit. It's exactly like what it is. So same kind of thing as Suicide Squad. It's go into this movie with like people that you care about surrounding you because you'll enjoy that. Your reality is what you make of it, and that's what this movie's really getting at. You are not your station. To quote Fight Club, you are not your khaki shorts. Like it's, I think it's just khakis, but you know what I mean. But yeah, it has everything. It's funny. It makes you cry. It's fun. The action, all the little Easter eggs are fantastic in it. It makes me wonder what's next, what's possible. Like it really brings to the idea of the metaverse and like the fact that we can have these different like intellectual properties in the same movie and things of that nature. So if you were a fan of Ready Player One and want something to laugh at while you watch it, watch this movie.
Definitely. Aside from all that was blend in, you had some great cameos. Of course, like you mentioned at the beginning, if anyone who knows the Easter egg cameo in the movie, we'll give you a shout out for our next podcast.
It's in the beginning, that's what we'll tell you.
Okay. So, but aside from that, you have another cameo that comes up later on in the movie. And by far, this one was one of the coolest cameos. And even though it's so short, it was definitely worth it. Enough to scream in the theater for. A little bit of language, though.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Like I said, I kind of gave it away earlier when I said Bub, but if you can guess the secret cameo, I will absolutely give you a shout out on the next podcast because who doesn't love to be right?
I know I do. But overall, I'm going to have to say, because of everything for this movie, how I felt going in, how I felt leaving, everything that took place. I mean, I did. I felt sorrow. I felt laughter. I mean, I did scream and actually, jump up right there at one point. This hands down is going to be a 10 out of 10 for me. Something that I don't normally say. I mean, I will buy this. I will watch it again. Definitely. Close. I
had forgotten about that one until you just said that. That one's fantastic.
Yes. And that one actually went ahead and came in as a big favor from Ryan Reynolds, which when the studios went ahead and agreed for him to be able to show up as a cameo, he also came with a little bit extra, but not going to say what that was. However, if you do guess the other famous cameo in there, we got your back.
I will say this to you, Jennifer. You're on the right track because it is a superhero cameo.
It is.
Yeah, I went into it expecting a 5. I left get it with a 9. And that to me is a lot. Like it's a huge jump. I mean,
that is a huge jump.
I really didn't expect much from it. I compared to how I felt going into Detective Pikachu. I expected nothing. What I got was an enjoyable ride.
True, very true. Everyone kept talking about it when it came out. Oh, Ryan Reynolds is Pikachu. Okay, so a Pokemon live action movie, and he's
That's
a
what I wanted
detective.
to see. I wanted to see
Okay.
that I Spy Pokemon everywhere.
Okay, that would be cool. But no,
Pokemon Snap the movie.
yeah,
Green lighted Netflix. You heard it here.
that or Hulu. Either one of you guys, go ahead and pick it up. Come on. But no, he's right though. I mean, Detective Pikachu was on my list, and I broke down and said, you know what, fine, I'll finally pick it up, watch it, and I was pleased. I really was, and that's what this did for me. I mean, go in, I had expectations of it just being a video game movie, and I was going to be fine with that. I walked away with an experience, and I do not joke about that one. This here is a must own. Once it's out, don't care. Getting in trouble,
Yeah.
overdrafting the account, buying it. Yeah.
But I think that about wraps up all the time we have today.
I think so. Of course, this was a special broadcast. We're getting back onto things. We will be joining you again next week at our regular scheduled broadcast of the first Saturday of every month. And anyone who's out there, anyone who's paying attention, if you love movies, if you want to join us, feel free to give us a shout out of some of your favorite movies. If there's a movie that you want us to review, message us. We'll go ahead and take a look at it. We'd love them. We want to go ahead and learn more. We want to hear more about you guys. And, join us at any time.
Is there a way to subscribe on StreamYard?
Unfortunately, there is nowhere to subscribe right here for this area, but we are on YouTube. And for those of you who are watching us on YouTube, don't forget to like and subscribe at WLFE DB Network Radio and join us. The more, the merrier.
Yeah, and bring your friends. Everyone come watch. We love it. We love to answer questions. We love to nerd out. And we appreciate you guys making this possible for us.
Very true. Well, that is going to be it for us tonight. And we will go ahead and call this a night and say till next time. Enjoy.
Oh, yeah. Life just got sweeter now that WLFE DB has merchandise. Show your support by purchasing your t-shirts for WLFE, Paratalk Radio, Inside the Drag Closet, and more. But it doesn't stop there. T-shirts, coffee mugs, tanks, buttons, cloth bags, and more. Go to WLFE-DB.com. On the top bar, click on the merchandise tab and bam, there you go. You got merch. Support the shows. WLFE-DB.com.
Bye, baby.